Love it when you guys are here on the show with me, as always, because of what it says about you. Everybody wants to make changes, or people talk about making changes, but if you're here, it's because you actually are planning to do it or are in the process of doing it right now. If you've been listening to the show for a while, I hope you are in the process. And if you're just tuning in for the first time now, then hopefully this is the start of the process for you towards becoming whoever you need to be to get whatever it is that you want. Whoever you are right now needs to change, and it needs to shift in order for you to become the person that is the kind of person where the things that right now seem out of your reach are ordinary and normal to you. And I know this is a crazy concept of growth, but it's really the trajectory that you must be on if you want to have all these really, really cool things that you say you want to have show up in your life. So that is really where I hope you are right now. The story I want to tell you guys today is going to link up to a great lesson, and it's going to be one that really, it's fundamental to how we live our lives. And so I hope you guys take a lot away from this. And as usual, I will give you guys something to do with this story and this lesson at the end of the episode, a call to action that I want you to take in order to make your life better in some meaningful way. And I'm going to give you a time frame in which to do that, but I'll do that as we get here towards the end. So last week, I went down for a week of training, and one day of training, down being Southern California, one day of training was at the Naval Special Warfare Center outside of San Diego. And you could see the border with Mexico at this facility. Like, there's the giant wall, and Mexico's got a lot more buildings in it than I was remembering that it had in it. So we're at this place, we're at this Naval Special Warfare Center, and what we're working on is with retired SEALs who are instructing us that day, we're working on close quarters combat. So we're clearing rooms, and they're creating all sorts of chaos as we're trying to do this. So they've got this giant room within the building, and they can move walls around because everything's on rollers to try to create different scenarios. And we're going in there with our little rubber pistols, and we're clearing rooms. And really, we're learning life lessons while we're clearing these rooms. But the SEALs are there creating all sorts of chaos. So they're telling us it's going to be one scenario, and it ends up being a different scenario. They're throwing grenades at us, which was just old Coke cans that we would either have to figure out what to do with, move past, whatever it was. They were creating all sorts of chaos. And we had missions where we had to extract a hostage, or we simply had to clear the entire building and make sure that there wasn't anybody that was quote unquote hostile in there. Now, what we had to do was take aggressive and decisive action throughout the entire experience. But there was one more thing that we had to add to it, which was our feeling of calm and control, even when the chaos was at its highest. I had to remind myself before I would go in there, I would sit there and just say, listen, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Even when they start yelling at you, even when they throw these metaphorical explosives at you, which in the moment, for whatever reason, your brain actually believes that there's danger. And that leads me to the lesson, is that stress magnifies your character. All the stress that you face, all the stress that I face, all it does is it serves as a magnifier for who we are in that moment. You have stress daily. You will. You have stress every single day. Even if you feel like you're not that stressed, you are actually experiencing some level of stress. So that stress can come in all sorts of different ways, and it can come from all sorts of different people. There is the stress of telling your kids what needs to be done and having them not listen to you or pay attention or move or even acknowledge the fact that you gave them an instruction. Also, you can experience stress simply by somebody in front of you not even driving the speed limit. Not that I've experienced that at least 15 times in the last 2 weeks, but you get stress from things. And these things are mostly you allowing the stress to come in, but it magnifies the character of who you are. And so what I've done is I put together, just based on this training that I went to last week, I put together a real simple 3-step process that I want you to implement and see how it works for you in a way that will help you make sure that whatever gets magnified about your character is the things you actually want, instead of a lot of the things that you don't want. Because we do get to control this. You get to control your reactions, what your character is like, when the magnification of stress shows up in your life. So let's talk about how this tactically lays out. So there are 3 steps in the process, and step 1 is to notice. Notice. I want you to take a quick assessment of what triggered you and how you reacted. So something's going to trigger you over the next couple of days that is going to elevate your level of stress. I don't know what that is yet. Could be one of the scenarios that I gave you before where a kid's not paying attention to you or somebody isn't even driving the speed limit. It could be something coming from work. It could be a client that is giving you stress because they're calling and being unreasonable about what they need. It could be a proposal that you need to have, or a sale that you did not make, or whatever it is. Step 1 is simply to notice what the trigger is, to understand what we're looking for is we're looking for a pattern. We're looking for behavior that comes in and gives you this stress. But the second part of it is we're looking to see how'd you react to it. For some people, they'll calm down and they'll simply work through the stress. For a majority of people, though, they will have a heightened state of irrationality and they will be reacting in ways emotionally that don't help them get through whatever event triggered them in the first place. And this is what I mean by the magnification of your character, because people, the true character that they've got could be one that starts taking it out on other people, that starts yelling, that starts like doing something with their hands where they really find a nervous tick. Find out what that is. All we're doing at this stage is noticing. There isn't guilt, there isn't shame, there isn't story, judgment, or anything around that when it comes to how you react. So step 2. Step 2 is decide. Decide how you want to react in the future. All your reactions are choices that you make. You can either choose to react in an emotional, highly volatile way, which is likely the way that you have been. And I'm not judging you when I say that because I've done the exact same thing, but it's also normal human nature without making a decision in advance of how you really want to react, how you want to get through the stressful situation. If you don't have that decision made, you're going to move into default mode. Default mode is your easiest go-to, and it's where most people live their entire lives, in that space of default mode. Or, in this case, making a decision, you shift into what I call directive mode. Directive mode, and you guessed it, is where you direct how you will move through your day, how you will react to whatever stressful events occur to you. You'll direct this. That's step 2. Moving on to step 3, you got to pregame. Pregame this. Remind yourself how you want to react before the situation happens. So before we went into our second to last mission at the Naval Special Warfare place, I had to sit there for a minute and remind myself how I wanted to be. How I wanted to be. I knew that I wanted to be aggressive. I knew that I wanted to be decisive. And I knew I wanted to be calm. And so I sat there and gave myself a little pep talk, which might sound crazy, but I gave myself a little pep talk about how I wanted to react when everything went down inside of this room that we were supposed to clear. And by room, I mean like 8 different rooms. And so I had this conversation with myself, and we entered the building where we were supposed to enter the building. We were a team of 8 that was going in. I was the team leader, and there were doors where there weren't doors before. There were walls where there weren't walls before. The SEALs were in there creating chaos, and I did exactly what I had set out to do. I reacted how I wanted to react. I was decisive, saying we're going in this direction. I was aggressive in my moves, which doesn't mean fast. It means deliberate and offensive. And I was calm the entire time. I took a second, rather than allowing the chaos that they were creating on the outside to dictate my actions were simply based on the decision that I made earlier about not having a heightened level of reaction to what was going on. So this process will help you magnify the right type of character traits that you actually want to exhibit versus getting into default mode and getting whatever character traits you currently have, including the ones that you don't like, being magnified based on the stressful environment. So here's the call to action. This is the thing that I want you guys to do. I mentioned this earlier in the episode that You've got to do something as part of being here. This isn't free. You get to watch it for free, you get to listen to it for free, but you've got to pay a fee. You've got to do something about it, which is in the next 24 to 48 hours, I want you to take the 3 steps that I just gave you. I want you to, 1, notice, be on alert for what triggers your stress and how you react to it. 2, I want you to decide how is it that you want to react to it in the future. And then 3, I want you to pregame, knowing that you're going to be coming into the same type of stressful behavior again. What is it that you need to remind yourself of doing? I want you to do that in the next 24 to 48 hours, because if you don't, you are going to forget and you won't ever do it. And presumably you invested your time, especially if you are still here, you invested your time into this. You might as well get something out of it. You could just leave and not do anything with it, and your time will essentially have been wasted. Or you can do something for yourself with it, and this time will be very, very valuable to you. So it's your choice what you want to have happen. But whatever it is, make sure that you take the action that you know you need to take. All right, guys, that's it. That's the show for the day, everybody. As always, I really appreciate you being on here. Before you leave, please do give me a rating or a review on whatever platform you are listening to this on. Certainly helps me out in getting this message out there to more people. This show is not about advertising. It's not about me making money. It's about me giving perspective in a way that hopefully will help you make the shifts that you need to make. And I want that for as many people as possible. So your rating and your review goes a very long way in getting that. Thank you in advance for those of you that have already done it or have not yet done it, and thank you to the people who have already done it. All right, guys, that's it. That's the show for the day, everybody. I'm going to do my job and come back next time, and I want you to do your job and you come back too. And before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Also hit the bell icon. We've got videos coming at you multiple times a week, and I want to make sure you don't miss any. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.